So in this tape job, I'm going to show you two different tape jobs. But when you do the wrist tape job, that is the beginning of the thumb tape job. So I'll break it up, but when you do the thumb, you do the wrist also, okay? When we do that, the wrist, you're obviously going to be protecting this across the wrist here, okay? And then when you do the thumb, we're going to be saying that we're trying to protect this joint right here, but you also can protect this joint too. So how we're going to do this, on the pre-wrap, I usually like them to spread the fingers apart and have it extended, because what happens when you start doing it, I don't want them to get, you know, soft hands, and then all of a sudden now their hands collapse, so when they need to expand it, it's tight, okay? So as an individual that's being taped, the individual will want to make sure that their person taping them, that they're helping them out by keeping their hand spread apart, okay?
I got it.
Okay, so I care less on the pre-wrap. Pre-wrap's minute. I usually go from, here, come out this way a little bit, Bailey, so everybody can see. So I go around it, and then I'm going to come into the palm, right here, and then from there, I'm going to come up around their thumb, okay, and back down. Okay, so that's the pre-wrap, okay? On the wrist portion, hold that right there, Bailey. I'm going to dictate to you guys, we're saying that it hurts to go back with the wrist, and we're saying it hurts to have the thumb come back, okay? So that's what the injury is to you guys. So you're trying to prevent that. So what we're going to do is we're going to come from the back of the hand to, you know, kind of slightly pull a little bit of pressure forward so that it's not going to be as easy to come back, okay? So I'm going to start at the back of the hand. And this one you have to kind of candy cane or angle it a little bit. So you're going to go around the wrist. And whether you go 2 times, 3 times, however, but you're trying to set it up so when you come through the palm, that it's nice and smooth, but then I pinch right here because of the webbing, okay? What I like to do is I like to pinch and pull some off, because I don't want to use the hand and pull the tape off, because then what I do is I kind of squish the hand, okay? So what I like to do here, pinch it right here to do that, extend it out a little bit so that it lays just nice and easy in the palm, okay? And then from there, okay? Now, if I was to do the wrist, I'd repeat that process and do one more time, okay? But for the thumb, which if you get the thumb for the final, this is what you'll do. You'll just do one layer and then you'll move into the thumb. Is there any confusion? That can confuse anybody? Okay.
For next week, are you wanting us to just do one of those then?
You're going to be, yeah, just one.
Okay.
Yep, correct. Okay, and then from there, I'm going to pull out and do some spikas. So what I'm going to do is this knuckle that we're talking about, that's the one we're trying to protect. We're going to try and overlap it, okay? So I'm going to take this, I'm going to go towards the palm, and then again, you got to be careful that you do not go too tight. Just like when we did the turf toe, remember how you go too tight around the toe? You can go too tight around the thumb, so you've got to be careful of that so you don't turn the thumb purple. You're going to do 3 of these, okay? At the end of the day, I like just to feather the tape across that joint. So I keep on trying to bend her knuckle just to see where it's at. Okay? So once I've done that, if you end up having, like, you know, part of it, you can use half strips. And these are called the C strips. You're going to come from the back of the hand, you're going to pull it in towards the palm. Now as you do that, it's very easy for the individual to let their thumb come in, okay? We can't have that happen. You can put a little bit of pressure in, but you don't want them to get to the point where that's how their hand is, because that's not going to be practical for them, okay? So you do that, and you start down at the base of the wrist, you pull in, okay? If you got those half strips, that's fine, but once you get to that full strip, you can use full strips, or if you have full strips, you can start with full strips too. It doesn't matter to me. And all you're going to do is you're going to do these, and you're going to come up high enough to go above the knuckle, okay? If you have to change the angle slightly, you know, if you're coming up, if it's lower on this side, you can take another piece if you want and change the angle of that. Okay, if you ever get to the point where it's kind of up in the middle, you can kind of pinch that stuff in the middle together, okay? Those little flaps. Now I've done everything I need to, so now I'm going to go back through and tie in all these ends. So I'm going to repeat the wrist, and that's why I said you only need to do one at the beginning. Keep your fingers apart. Okay, so that's, and I can go more around the wrist, I mean up here on the arm if I want to, but that's the nuts and bolts. Okay, the other thing I want you guys to see, this is what I usually use for those spikas when I take my wrestlers and so forth, or if I have somebody that needs a little more dexterity in their hands and they don't necessarily need the wrist portion but they need the protection of the thumb. I usually just do a light layer right here, and then I do the spikas with this elastic color of the Tensoplast, whichever one I have. And that is a little bit tougher than that white tape. Okay, so that's pretty much how that is done. Do I need to repeat that?